a lot. That's the start of the journey when learning something new, right? You'll get it with time. I'm still learning how to trade crypto futures as well. What is up, everybody? It's Jeremy with Stockton. We're going to go ahead and review the watch list for this upcoming week, as well as any reports to just kind of be cautious for, whether that be any Fed's PCE report on Friday or unemployment, right? That could definitely be something to look out for. So we're going to go ahead and just put that all together. I'm going to show you how I actually developed a weekly outlook for the chat, show you also how we develop our watch list, and then also probably chart up a couple of them here so you can see how we can identify support and resistances and see what could be the overall bias for this week, which so far for me, it is bearish, but let's get right into it. I'm going to go ahead and bring the team on here. So if you are a part of the Discord, I will drop a free link so you can attend these live streams for free. And maybe once a week, we'll go ahead and all do live trading as well. But if you want more of it, every single day, you could definitely hit the second link that I'll go ahead and add here for you guys, which is to be a part of our membership. But all right, let's go ahead and bring the team on, see what we want to add to the watch list. All right, Demi, let me see what you got going on here. I'm the two small plays, bit, and SHIB. Okay. Seems like the ROI is not so bad for SHIB. I was looking into it the other day, but it's really dependent on volume, right? Where's everybody at? I'm gonna go ahead and start building the watch list here so that you guys moving forward know how to do this. So the weekly outlook for now, this is what I do. Typically I go to the resource tab that we have here, and then this is literally building it from the ground up. Just gonna go ahead and add this here to Google. I'm sharing my screen now. Boom. So bookmark, I'm gonna bookmark this page, add schedule CPI reports, definitely need that one. Upcoming Fed meets, we have Powell speaking this week. We'll go ahead and identify exactly what time he speaks. I think it's on Wednesday, and I'm sure they'll just touch base on why they had a 0.25 interest rate hike. But it's not going to be the next interest rate hike this week. They're just going to discuss what they were able to gather last week. Anything else here in the resource tab, you don't have to add it right now to build a weekly outlook, except for the ones that we just added here. So just looking at Forex Factory for tomorrow, we have PMI right after market opens, so right before 10 in the morning. This could be a huge indicator to either continue to set trend or reject, have a hard rejection or have a nice uptrend at 10 in the morning due to this report. So that's something definitely to be cautious for tomorrow. And we'll go ahead and add that to our weekly outlook for sure. So we have Monday so far, 9:45 a.m. PMI for US. And then Tuesday, 2 p.m., we have Fed speaking. I do believe Powell will speak. I'm not 100% sure, but if he does, it would just merely, again, touch base on the 0.25 interest rate hike that took place last week. So that's Tuesday. Wednesday, we have GDP coming out. Definitely a week full of some hectic reports, right? After CPI just came out. So Thursday, we have PC pre-market. And then on Friday, we don't have, G12, G20 meetings. Let me see what that is. So it's pretty much just like a meeting for bankers from 20 industrialized nations, including ourselves. So it's also something to kind of keep a lookout for, right? And that should be taking place all day Friday. I think the most important is going to be Thursday PC, 8:30 in the morning. But let's see what else we have here. So today market closed. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So we were able to look at every single website that I myself at least take into account before the week starts. And we have something to kind of build for our weekly outlook now, right? We could turn it into the calendar section here. So I'll go ahead and do that on my own, but let's just get right into the charts. I'll make that look pretty and whatnot, and I'll post it into the weekly outlook tab so that you guys can be able to see, what are the Fed meets, what are earnings, also what are the stocks scheduled to abide by, such as live trading times. Yeah, you can always just go to calendar and then just start adding in everything that we just kind of got or retrieved right from each and every single website there. And then you just add it to each and every single day. So I'll make that look pretty, but let's get right into the charts here. You guys prefer Thinkorswim or Webull? I gotta say, Thinkorswim is my preferred for placing options, but I do look at Webull for maybe Bitcoin or ETH to chart. Alrighty, let's bring over the big boy now. I should be able to see my Thinkorswim. Let me check. Yeah, Walmart coming in with earnings, Home Depot as well. I like to trade those post-report just to buy the new news, but we'll see how they act. See if they have some type of effect right before they report. For sure. We'll go ahead and add that here to the watch list. We'll go ahead and actually create a new watch list. And we'll put it for this week. What are we? 0 to 20 to the 25th? Yep, I think. Yep, today. Well, we could actually put the 21st because today market's closed, right? Just to be precise. All right, cool. So we'll go ahead and add the normal ones. So SPY, we have Qs, right? I like to look at the futures too. Qs, which is NASDAQ. SPX, so I want to go a little bit more aggressive. NVIDIA for ODT and post earnings. NVIDIA has earnings, if I'm not mistaken, on Wednesday. Let's go to our upcoming earnings tab here. Yes, so we have earnings for NVIDIA Wednesday after the market closes. So it's something I definitely want to look to trade Thursday and Friday for ODT. So we got NVIDIA, we got Walmart, Home Depot. Those are just some of my favorite stocks. Demi, what else you want to see? Anybody else who's on here, start dropping those stocks. Or even just keep it very minimal, under 10, under 8 at that. And then as the week goes by, we can maybe add some on if we see some momentum, maybe even like Lucid after their reports. I know that they have earnings on Wednesday as well. So we'll see. Sticking mainly to our indexes this week, I am pretty bearish. I want to see that we continue to reject due to CPI's numbers. Merely, I don't want to say editing, but they did revise a bit of how they collect the data moving forward for CPI, and I'll definitely go ahead and upload a video on that specifically by tomorrow, so you guys can understand why I'm overall bearish, why I feel like not really, again, that they edited or manipulated the data, but rather they're just taking into account, what they need to measure the inflation moving forward is a bit uncalled for. It's not being collected from the past, 5 years, but rather the past 3 years. So that's just a huge difference, and it's also a lot has happened in the past 3 years to be able to say that it's what's going to happen again in the future. And so to me, that's just a little bit shaky fundamentally, but we'll see what happens here on the chart as well. Yeah, pretty bearish, right? I feel like everybody else is bearish as well. It's just a sentiment. RSI did cool off, so we can kind of think that maybe there will be a bull trap before our plan really starts to pan out there. We do have interest rate hikes, and again, we can go back to resource here. Interest rate hike takes place the next date on March, I believe. Where is it? So we would have to pull up this one up here. There we go. So March 21st to the 22nd, they're going to be deciding the next interest rate hike. So we still have another month, right? And definitely could have some type of bull trap, expect the unexpected kind of vibe. But that's only going to be if a few kind of factors are viewed here in my case. So for one, it's going to be Qs. And it's a part of our watch list here, so it's definitely good to know this. If Qs can hold under $300, that's breaking trend in my eyes. In fact, if we go to the 4-hour chart here, even the 1-hour chart, you can see this, but mainly the 4-hour chart here, I do have put territory to really come under 296, but I'm actually going to go ahead and add some support and resistances here, kind of refresh our charts, kind of have a better understanding for what we've been trading for the past few weeks now, and really go forward with this, plan that I actually have in mind. But I need to see that certain resistances are to be rejected now in the next coming days to be able to consider that we can actually come down to even lower than 290 for QQQ, coming down here to the 200 SMA, which is going to be roughly 289, 287 range, right? But with time, this can definitely pick up, and for any reason we do not reject that resistance, this does not have to come down here. We have to be realistic. It is what's overall the sentiment, but it does not have to happen. And if it does happen, then it definitely looks like the daily chart, right? Kind of respecting this huge downtrend that started over here from March last year, August of last year, and then right around now, right, when all three of our algorithms are also popping off. Kind of makes sense, and let's see what happens when the Fed speaks on Tuesday. Again, they're not going to really pinpoint much of what they're going to do next, but again, merely talk about what they've already done, and it could add some more fear to the market and again repeat what's happened. And I definitely would like to be prepared for that for sure. So just to chart up a few things here and kind of get a better understanding of intraday, what we can prepare for, we can go ahead and just chart up a little bit of spot, right? And I don't have any levels here because I just want to do this from scratch with you guys so you can see how I do this. I'm going to do it a little bit more fast paced. If you want to see how I plot my support and resistances, there are videos there in the recordings tab, so you can check that out. But just kind of going fast paced here, building our support and resistances. I'm going to start from the daily time frame and then come down to the 5-minute. So here in the daily, I already can kind of see here, just sniping it out. We're not even being perfect, but kind of having an area for the support would be anywhere from 380 to 375. So we can go ahead and just grab these few lows down here, 1, 2, and 3, and then we can find the most common resistance rather. And I feel like on the daily it would be around this range here, but you would also want to kind of take into account that right now this range up here is also potential resistance. So 415s I would want to say is another common resistance here, and I'm going to go ahead and mark that as a level to be cautious for. So I feel like here on the daily we can also go ahead and add this level here, a gap that's clearly respected most of the time, whether it's rejected or completely broken through. And then I also want to add where the 200 SMA is, but right above it, just because with time it could increase, and I would want to see that it can respect this level here, or maybe completely disrespect it. So I have 4 levels here, support and resistances, and also common ranges. And then now we're going to bring us down to the 4-hour chart. See if we can fill in the gaps here. All right, so I see here resistance, resistance, resistances. I'm gonna go ahead and mark that, and also support right here, right? So I want to go ahead and mark this range right here. Doesn't have to be perfect because I mean we're so far away from it, but until then, you know, at least we know what could be the next move. I want to grab this resistance and these few supports. They're merely wicks, but they're pretty aggressive 1, 2, and 3 times, and then a resistance here. So I feel like that's a critical range to mark. I also want to mark this right here. It hesitated here at the resistance, had a support, resistance got rejected back here, and then these times, I mean, as you guys can see, we had many wicks to rejections that confirmed a nice downtrend every single time. So this level is also a nice range for me to mark, and as well as this level right here. We have common resistance, support, support, and that's just about it. I actually want to grab the top of this and the top of this, and then the supports over here that got respected. So that's going to be anything under 408, which was pretty tough to break last week, right? So if we keep rejecting 408, just like with Qs, we keep rejecting 302 range, I am bearish. But if we go past above this in the next coming days, I have to switch my sentiment to temporary or short-term bullish per se. And I'm definitely ready for either or, but more so to the bear side, I gotta say. The only reason why I feel like maybe we'll have some type of bull trap like we did Friday is because the RSI did cool off from when we were last looking to short back in the beginning of the month, right? So that did happen. We did cool down, had a lot of choppiness, but I feel like the real downtrends will take place after the RSI attempts the upside once more. So that's what I have for the 4 hour. Let's jump back into, or jump lower into the 1 hour now. See if we can grab some more support and resistances. Although on the 4 hours, you guys can see I wasn't trying to be so perfect with the levels, but merely getting the range, looking into the 1 hour now, it makes sense, right? These levels. And even then, some of them are not perfect, but I actually want to leave the levels that I have because it just makes the most sense. It doesn't have to go to this support. It doesn't have to go to this resistance, but the levels make sense to maybe do somewhat the same for the next time around. So for the 1 hour, we don't even have to add much here because the 4 hour killed it, grabbing pretty much what I would have grabbed on the 1 hour anyway. But just add a couple of them here, some ranges that make sense. I added these two, resistance that got rejected but confirmed the major uptrend, support, and then currently where we are right now, potential gap fill, right? So I actually want to grab the bottom of that gap fill, and then I want to grab the top of that gap fill. And then now if we close in to our 30-minute, we can anticipate some things here, right? The gap fill that I saw in a 1 hour seems a little bit more clear, right? So if we're to open up tomorrow, gap fills are easily filled and then rejected, or we attempt it and still reject it. So I'll definitely draw that out in the 5-minute, but it's just something that I'm noticing already now in the 1 hour because I grabbed this support and then, this support and then this resistance up here. So not much to do in the 30-minute. Actually, we can grab, because I noticed I grabbed the wicks here. We can grab the resistance, the actual resistance to this side. And that's pretty much it. Now we can go down to our 5-minute. I don't really care for the 15-minute. I feel like it's the same as the 5-minute. I feel like the 5 to 15-minute is the same range, if that makes sense. Once you start coming under 5-minute, you're definitely needed to look into the 1-minute time frame, right? And then anything surpassing the 15-minute, I feel like already jumps into a 30-minute perspective. This is just based off of time zones and knowing when are the best times to enter. If you know, you know. All right. So this is what we have for tomorrow. These are the levels that I'm going to leave and actually place in our watch list. So we'll follow them tomorrow. And if we have to update the color scheme here now, or the coordination, because pre-market kind of changed, where we are right now, then we'll go ahead and do that for sure. So I like to place anything under where we currently are as puts territory, and then above would be calls, right? Now again, the gap fill that we were talking about earlier. For any reason, we actually can surpass this level and go into this range, which would be 406 to 407. I mean, to me, a dollar jump up for SPY, I mean, it would have to do it in a manner of time of, let's say, less than 30 minutes to have actual leverage and not decay for me to, see some profits with options, right? Now, maybe with crypto futures or even regular futures, we can grab S&P or NASDAQ if we see that SPY here wants to fill the gap. And whether it's choppy or not, if it takes too long or not, if it gets there, we'll have some pretty nice ROI. So noticing that, I'm actually going to put my puts territory at 404.80s. My call territories are going to remain at 406. And then this is just going to be the first take profit level up here. Now again, if pre-market changes things here and we're already attempting the gap fill, then this is going to be our new call territory. Anything right before market open, wherever we currently are, is what we have to respect our colors to coordinate with here. So for now, anything above yellow, anything under yellow, calls, puts, and then take profit levels to the upside and down. So with thinkorswim, a little bit more time put into the levels here, but I'm already used to it. But if you feel like maybe TradingView or Webull is something more ideal, I can see that for sure. It's time efficient. But yeah, so that's what I have for SPY. Even then, the levels here, they seem like a wide range. So it's like, what are the odds that SPY is just going to drop from 404.80s to 401, right? What we have to do sometimes here is go back into our time frame, maybe even the 30-minute, and fill in this gap here to the downside. Kind of, mark a territory that seems realistic. And if you notice, we have one support over here from like 2 weeks ago Friday, and then we have this one, right? So we can easily go ahead and say, yes, we can add that support, but it's still not going to be enough, you'll see. So even if we go ahead and grab the bottom of that support, not even the wicks, but the bottom of the candlesticks, we still have anything under 404 to merely come down to 401s, no shot, right? We still need something that's realistic to fill that gap. So we need to now go back to our 1 hour and see if we could fill that, which yes, we can. So here we have a lot of consolidation before the jump up, resistance that got rejected. I want to go ahead and add this level right here, this common range, and then probably even have to go to our 4 hour to find the last one. So we're all the way up here. We have to find anything under 403 to 401. And if you guys notice, we have a resistance here and a resistance here, as well as here that got rejected. We can easily go ahead and mark that level of 402.50s, 402.40s. So now, when we bring us back to the 5-minute, it makes more sense, right, for the downside to do this. End up at 401s from 404, knowing that its daily average is $5. If it does something more than that, then you have this down here, right, that you still may want to fill in, but you don't need to do that until we actually get down to those levels, right? I more than likely would fill them in, but just to kind of get a move on things here, understanding the $5 move would either come down to 401, or if we hold above, 405s can take us up to easily 409 to 410.40s. So yeah, that's how I map out my support and resistances for indexes. Start from the longer time frame and go into the smaller time frame. And then specifically for tomorrow for SPY, we'll go ahead and draw a trajectory. I always like to do this just to test myself, right? So right now, pre-market, getting close to midnight, right? If we stay in this box, I feel like the breakout could either happen here One second. Okay. So either we go over here, we retest that gap fill, and then we hold above our calls range, and we simply just do this. Have a nice clean day, or at least something close to it, right? But if not, then the downside could seem like this, a little bit choppy, all right, because our first take profit level is a little bit close in range. And then if we start to do one of these where we stay under puts territory, I would want to see that it ends up doing one of those, all right? Now, this is, of course, again, saying that pre-market levels doesn't shift us all the way up or all the way down already. And if that's the case, then we'll just revise this. RSI is already looking like it's oversold, and it would make sense to at least go to the overbought levels. Doesn't matter if it does it in an hour, if it does it throughout pre-market, just as long as it hits overbought levels, it would make sense for us to start looking to short it. And we'll plan that out tomorrow pre-market. So that's what I have there. Let's see what Walmart looks like. So I actually have some levels here. Walmart calls 146. It's clearly a resistance that is getting rejected, but the RSI is not as overbought as it was in the past when it got rejected. So I can see that if it actually holds above this range of 146.20s, that it retests the 146.80s and calls could be bought. Now, before earnings, again, I do not trade the stock, the company, whatever it is. I like to wait for the news to report after the fact and trade that. If I do trade anything prior to the reports, it has to be like a week and a half and way out, before the report, just to kind of get that, momentum, riding, right? But as the report starts to really approach, it's very rare that you see the stocks, actually moving, but rather have a lot of indecision because people are strangling, right, or trying to gamble the report. So that's how I feel about earnings. I know Walmart should be definitely a good one, but we'll keep an eye on until after the fact that it reports. Home Depot, I love Home Depot. My grandfather had like hundreds of shares at 250 3 summers ago. I'm sure it was actually the summer that COVID was around 2020, and he had let them go that year. And at the end of the year, the shit pumped up like almost 50% after that. And ever since then, Home Depot has been like a really nice stock to trade, right? It has some crazy volatility. And even I myself, I'm looking at it like, okay, that's something I have to kind of get back into, right, for the sake of him. And no, I'm kidding. It just looks good. I actually do like it, and that could be a little backstory to why I look at Home Depot a lot. But as you guys can see here, rejection at 325 multiple times. For any reason, it actually continues to reject 318s. I can see that it's still bearish. But just like with Walmart, I would want to, wait for the report, which Home Depot reports Wednesday, I believe. Tuesday, pre-market. So we can see, ourselves trading Tuesday, Home Depot and Walmart. That'd be pretty nice. Yeah, Walmart and Home Depot. Awesome. All right, Lucid. I remember when this thing just pumped and a few of us wanted to short it, and it definitely looked really good. And I still would be down for it, but again, just like with the other earnings, wait for the report to do its thing. But if it comes under $10.80, I feel like it's still continuing to break its trend to the downside. But it's still, as of right now, until it does break under, has momentum to actually continue rising. And we can more than likely see this here on the 4-hour chart. It does. So from its last, takeoff that it had a couple weeks ago, or even, on the 10th? No, it actually started on the 26th of January, right? You can merely think that half of the investors are still in this uptrend, right? And until it really breaks under $10.50, that those investors are still buying, what they initially bought. And yeah, a lot of them took profits, but that's just the common thing to do at the top, right? So I would feel like, Lucid could be another good one. The RSI is still, not as overbought nor oversold, so a lot can happen. But again, just wait for the report to do its thing. NVIDIA, have some crazy levels here for NVIDIA, but this is going to be a Friday trade. Kind of just track this along the week, see what it can do. For any reason it continues to reject 215, 216 range, it is pretty bearish in my view. Now, if it can hold up 217, I could actually probably get some swings after the report, right? Treat it just like with any other stock, no matter if even it's a favored one of mine. It does report earnings this week on Wednesday, and I don't want to touch this thing until after the fact. So we'll see what NVIDIA does. Definitely be following that one up until Wednesday. SPX, so the market's tanked a little bit. We can expect SPX to also, may have dropped a little bit as well. But I do see a gap fill here on the 5-minute that got created and never filled. So this is like I was saying for other indexes. I could expect another bullish kind of rally. Consider it maybe a trap to, want to start shorting that at the top. But the only reason why I feel like we can actually, have a bull trap is because there's a lot of opportunity for gap fills that we still have yet to actually fill in the past, 5 days. And the RSI is not so bad either. So we got to keep a lookout for that. But this is what I see for SPX tomorrow. And if we're looking at SPX, we can definitely say that we can trade this on crypto futures, right? We can buy S&P. So it doesn't have to complete the gap fill completely, but even if it goes up to 40.90 from 40.80, I think being prepared for that little uptrend would be really nice. And gap fills usually happen in a matter of like 1 to 3 hours. So we would actually end up over here. So let's just say we're down here. You can either expect one of those, or if we hold above the 200 SMA and the gap fill, then the upside could be all the way up here. We'll see. We'll play the levels accordingly with how the day moves. I feel like this would be the break point. So if it holds this level, calls or more calls, right? But if it rejects, we could set up for our puts here. So that's what I'm kind of viewing for SPX. One last thing on QQQ. Pretty much view this on SPY as well, but I like looking at it on QQQ. I feel like it has, it has the same view. You can literally see it as the same, but I actually found it with Q, so I pretty much just look at this indicator on their standpoint. So if we go to Q here, computer's acting a little bit slow. And we go to the max available with a weekly standpoint, and we analyze the 200 SMA. I put monthly. Week. Alright, cool. So 200 SMA right now, we actually are above. You can't see it right now that good, but we're still above the 200 SMA by a lot for Qs. It would definitely take the next $17, $18. But if we do, dip and we touch the 200 SMA, this is what actually kind of makes me feel a little bit more bearish than ever. In 2008 was the only other time that we actually came under that 200 SMA, and it was after we touched it for the first time that we retested it after having a bullish rally, a couple of them, and then finally we had the breakthrough that nobody was expecting. Everybody was expecting the markets to crash around here, but no, it happened after a couple bullish rallies, got rejected, happened out of nowhere, and hasn't happened ever since. So I think the times that we came closest was COVID, but not even then. It just held up pretty nicely, right? And then right now, we clearly broke under it, retested it, broke under it a second time, and now we're just flying above. It would make sense that if we come under at least for the third time, that's something, pretty dramatic can happen there. The unexpected, right? So let's see. Definitely could be some crazy moves here. Now, if for any reason Q's holds that 305 to 310 level, yeah, for sure, it's not creating a downtrend channel anymore. So we'll see what happens here.